Antigravity completely changed how we build websites, and you can now create high-converting animated sites without writing a single line of code. I've sold these systems for thousands of dollars, and in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly the system I used in order to create beautiful website with scroll animation that gets you more clients, save time, and increase your revenue. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Joe. I'm an ex-senior manager in big tech. And over the past 5 months, I've helped more than 50 businesses transition to AI. So with that aside, get comfortable and let's dive straight in. All right, so here we are inside Antigravity. And the first thing that we do in order is that we just want to open a new project. So a new folder, right? So YouTube videos, and I created this, which is called animated website, which is an empty folder. Before we even start with a market research to understand what is the most beautiful website and where do we want to benchmark and etc., one thing that you might know if you try to build with this platform is that if you try to build from scratch, your output will depend a lot on both your initial prompt and on luck, right? Because even though we might be able to get as an output a beautiful website once, it doesn't mean that our system learned how a beautiful website is designed. So in order to mitigate this risk, we need two things. We need an initial system prompt, and we need to give our IDE, and therefore Antigravity, some skills. And these skills basically are nothing more than some ability that we give to our IDE that the IDE will be able to use in order to understand how a specific task should be performed. And in our situation, we need to give Antigravity the skills of a front-end developer, right? Because we want to see the things and we want Antigravity to know, hey, this website is beautiful if it has this padding, this space, I don't know, whatever font, and so on. So where do we find all of this? So let me start immediately by giving you a repo that I found for skills. I will also create a Notion file for those of you who don't manage to join the community. So everything will be available for free in one of the links down below. However, in here, you can go in Classroom, you can go in Tutorials, and here it will be a beautiful $10,000 animated website. And this is the repo that I would recommend you to press in order to find good Antigravity skills. What do we find in here? First of all, we find a multi-agent, then an orchestrator, then we have the skills for a QA agent, a PM agent, front-end agent, and back-end agent, and debugging. So also the mobile application, by the way. And therefore, we see that this repo is actually designed for a website. So the things that I am going to have to do is to copy this, right? The GitHub repository right here. I'm going to copy the URL and I'm going to go into Antigravity and I'm going to say something along the way of, hey, I'm going to paste you now a GitHub repository. I would like you to import it. I will give you both the link for the repo and also the raw HTML so that you can decide what's the best way to import it. Fantastic. So once I've done this, here I will do something along the way of link. And I will now go back here, copy, and then I'll give it to it. And then I will say raw HTML. And I also do this. Why do we do this, by the way? And why am I doing such a silly thing? Because if you use Antigravity and you are trying simply to give URLs, sometimes, and it's the same for any IDE, it's also for Cloud Code and etc. I'm not sure what they use, but they use some sort of scraping tools that sometimes they're just going to overcomplicate and just pollute the overall chat, and sometimes not even retrieving the correct data and information, right? So what I generally tend to do is I tend to give as much context as I can to the LLM so that the LLM is actually able to perform the job properly and avoid like going into those loops where I just have to wait for 15 minutes for nothing. Now, is this the best way to do it? I don't know. This is for sure the most effective that I personally found. So while this is being actually imported, we also need to give some system prompt, which is my agent.md file. And I'm just going to import it and I'll leave it available also on the Notion. And now I imported the file. So as you know, RBI, rules, brain, and implementation, everything that I want in terms of rules, goal, requirements, etc. will be specified in a folder that will be created right here. So we will have another folder right here, which is called rules, right? And eventually the brain mechanism is where it's the decision-making process, and implementation will be another folder that will contain only the things that will actually execute the job, right? So it's an implementation folder. So in order to achieve that, I'm going to say something like, okay, now please initialize the workspace according to the agent.md file. And now that we're gonna receive this, I can show you real quick the repository that has been imported. So in here, if you see inside all my AG, I'm gonna have the agent, right? And inside here, I'm gonna have my skills. And here is exactly what we were discussing before. And this will be, by the way, called automatically according to the task, because the agent is smart enough to understand which of the skills should be called. So in our case, we will see that we are going to be calling this skills.md file, which is a front-end specialist, right? So we will be able to use all of these things that have been very kindly input by someone else, but we will just be able to access all of this. Cool. And now we see that slowly but surely, we're also having that our workspace is being initialized. So we now have the implementation, we have the execution rules, right? And as you know, we have my alert user.py, which basically is a little sound that pops in your laptop whenever we have finished one of these tasks. Now, with this, we have given our IDE some guidelines that it should be able to follow in order to produce the perfect website that we are trying to achieve. And now we need to do another couple of things. So now we give the IDE these guidelines. We need to start the market research. And why do we need that? Because ideally, if we have in mind what we want to achieve in terms of website, and we can also show it with some pictures to the LLM, right? Then this becomes much better. And what I want to build right now, it's a beautiful website for, I don't know, AI glasses. And so I'm going to benchmark this with, I have in mind Apple and Meta. So with the Vision Pro and all of those magnificent glasses and Vision stuff. So let's go back to Google, and I will now take a screenshot of this. Then I will take a screenshot of this, which is the Meta page, right? Because I want to create a website which is very similar to this one. And then I also went to Rolex because given the fact that I am creating a premium website for some AI glasses, I want to give this a premium look. Now, this is, of course, Italy, but it will not matter, right? That the website is in Italian, but I want to take a screenshot also of this. And what I will do then is create a folder inside my Antigravity that I will call pictures, and where I will store all of these pictures of the website, right? So now I'm going to take the screenshot and I'm going to insert them right here. Fantastic. So now what I do have is all of my pictures inside, right? You can see that I took the pictures, everything is per expectation, and therefore I can start with a massive initial prompt. And this massive initial prompt, by the way, you can go back in my community and or in the Notion file, and I have already created it for our website, right? And this is it. So basically, I have specified everything from footer, from hero section, from aesthetics, from business context, and so on. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste it here, and then we're going to see the end result once this is finished. What this will do, just as an FYI, is that initially, what we want to achieve is that basically we want to have a website that has an initial structure that will have our hero section, which basically it's the big page that we saw, right? The one where we took the screenshot from. And then eventually that hero section will be the thing that we will modify in order to create the animated website, right? And the reason is because whatever picture we will have, if we have any, because maybe we just get placeholders, that we will simply need to then create a sequence of images and then replace those with the hero section. And then this will create our own animation, because this will be scroll animation, right? So you can imagine that the moment that you start scrolling, it means that your sequence of pictures basically starts to roll down, and then you're going to see them, and then you're going to obtain that sort of movement type of feel. And this is the website that we got. So let's go and see. Okay, so we have an initial menu. We can kind of see it, but we could slightly change it if we wanted. A nice rounded button, mid the feature of vision. Fine. We have one of the placeholder in the background that we will for sure change. And then I really like this explore with the little line, which is aligned with the brand. Now going down, okay, beyond the lens. Perfect. And we have, I love the rounded corners right here, by the way. I really think they're very pretty. And eventually, okay, there is another placeholder image, engineered perfection. And okay, here we could add most likely some emojis and stuff. And then the collection, very nice, because here we will have then the ability of getting maybe more than one a picture and model of like glasses, I assume. Stay ahead. Oh, wow, we have the access for the email list. and then we have a footer. Fantastic. So now, even before, okay, how do we actually make the whole website better, and how do we improve each things? So the first thing that we want to do is that we want to make sure that this website reflects actually glasses, right? AI glasses. So how are we going to do? We're going to create an image or take a reference from Google of AI glasses that we like, and we're going to go into Whisk. So what is it? We need to start creating basically our scroll stopping animation. So this is the first step that we want to take, which is another Google, I would call it platform, but it's a service that they're offering and etc. Where basically you have the possibility of describing whatever you want to see in an image, and then the website will create it. And why do we want this? Because we want to start having a reference image that we will use for all of our website. And then also that reference image will also help us in ensuring that the whole website is compliant with the style that we're going to be creating. So which prompt are we going to use? We go back to our Skool and or Notion, and we're going to press copy and paste. So premium AI smart glasses with matte titanium frame and reflective lenses, dramatic studio lighting, deep graphite background, ultra high resolution. Glasses are centered vertically, floating in the frame with controlled reflection, showcasing advanced engineering and minimalistic design. We're going to press generate or the arrow. And then here we're going to have two possible images that we can choose in order to decide, okay, what is the thing that we actually want to see from the website? And the website is going to give us these things right here. Okay, so as you saw, I didn't really like these. They were closed. These were not so AI to me. So I just kept running the same prompt up until finally I found the image that I wanted. And this will be my reference image for the website, right? So now I'm happy with this and I can download it and I can consider this as a reference image. So now I will run the second prompt using this as a reference, because now what I want to do is I want to create something that is, let's say, compliant with the style that this actually image has, right? So what I'm going to do now is run my second prompt, which is, I want them to like explode. I don't know why, but premium AI smart glasses bursting apart in slow motion, titanium fragment and lens reflection suspended mid-air, internal technology, brief reel revealed, dramatic light, controlled chaos, powerful, futuristic, beautiful. Oh, look at how amazing is my prompt. And let's see now what's going to be happening whenever we receive the output images. But basically, oh, this is very nice. Let's see, just rerunning if we get anything different. But basically what we're trying to achieve now is we want to get to an end state that we are happy with, because this will represent the last part of our scrolling animation. And I think after watching all of them, I will opt for this one. There is a bit more like messy effect and etc. So I will download this. And then what do I need? Now I need to go back to my Skool community. And now you see that we have two images. So we have an initial state and we have an end state. And then we can go to flow and we can start a new project. And here you will see that on the menu, you will have the option of going frames to video, which means basically we're taking the initial frame, we're taking the end frame, and we are creating the video. So let me now take my two frames. So now I have uploaded them, right? First frame, last frame, and then I can go here and copy this magnificent prompt right here, which is smooth cinematic transitions showing glasses assembling midair, lens locking into place, and internal components activating with subtle pulse. So now we're going to get a video, but now we can't really upload a video inside the Antigravity website. And the reason behind it is that your Antigravity will work just with PNGs. And as we mentioned, what we need to do as a next step is basically taking this video and then breaking it down into frames so that then we can upload all of these images in sequence to Antigravity, so that whenever we scroll, it's as if we were getting the motion effect. Okay, so this is basically the two videos that it produced, and you can keep on going up until you're satisfied. And then eventually you can break it down into frames and then you can upload it, right? So what I'm going to do now is basically download the video and then go inside MP4 to JPG online converter. Again, if you want, the link will be right here and or in the Notion, so don't worry. And then basically you're just gonna insert these things right here and then download it as pictures. So upload in progress. And once this is done, I can start. And what I will get is a series of pictures that then I will be able to use, and we will import everything inside our Antigravity folder. Okay, now we are back into Antigravity, and as you can see now, I have imported all of the things that we did, and also I have created a new folder called New Hero Animated Video Flow, which is basically the frame-by-frame thing that we were discussing before, right? So each frame here will now break, and then it will shatter, and so on. So once that is achieved, we go back to Skool and we take this prompt right here and we go back to Antigravity, we paste it, and what does it say? It says replace the old image in the hero section with the image sequence in, and let me now ensure that this is actually a mention, right? So this is a directory and I am going to call it new hero animation. So this part, I just fixed it, right? And this should be a smooth animation. Now, I could also say something along the way of, hey, by the way, along the website, you also had some placeholders for images, and some of these are not really pertinent to the AI classes. So please make sure that whenever you are building the new website, you're also changing the placeholders with images that resembles this. Specifically, when you offer like the 3 pair of glasses, make sure that are sort of some base model, and then you go all the way to premium with some other features there. And now we press enter. So basically, right here, what happened is that we asked Antigravity to replace the old image in the hero section. So basically, I am referring to this one right here, right, with the Vision Pro and etc. That is basically just a placeholder, with the sequence of images that I got from the flow video and after exporting it, right? So what we're going to do now is simply wait that this finishes, and then we're going to check the end results in our website. Okay, so now this is what we got as an output. So we can now scroll slowly, and you will see that the glasses do break and reassemble, and then we can go down, and then engineering precision meets artificial intelligence. Now we have this, which is much better than the Rolex before. And then we have this, you can hover, like beautiful animation with a blue, and like, I love it. And then you have your collection. So here we have the 3 pair of glasses. So horizon, titanium silver, carbon edged, stay ahead. It got fixed also, by the way, nicer proportions. And also this with the new logo. So perfect. Now, we have this, but this website is not a website until it is online. So what we're going to do is now we're going to go to GitHub, go to Vercel, and publish the website. Perfect. So now everything seems like it's working properly. So could you please now push this to GitHub and then eventually also publish it into Vercel? And why are we doing this? Because Git is what you can consider as a version control platform, which basically means that you can consider this as a big folder where you store all of the previous changes that you made to a specific project, so that in case anything breaks, you can just go there and restore it. And then the project can be accessed by the public on Vercel. So Vercel is basically, and you can imagine it as the place where these websites go live, right? Now, I have published the code to GitHub for Vercel. Requires authentication. Please visit vercel.com, whatever. And now, if you don't have your GitHub connected, you can go right here in the 3 dots, MCP servers, and you can go in Git right here. And here you will see that this is installed and enabled. Here you will have to press install in case you don't have it, and you will be requested an access token. So to find the access token, you can go back to your GitHub. In here, you can go to settings. Right at the very bottom, there is developer settings. And here you can go in personal access token, fine-grained tokens, and then you can generate a new token. You give it a name, you give all of the possible permissions, and you press generate token. So that's basically how you connect your GitHub to this. And then eventually, you're going to ask Antigravity to connect it to your Vercel. And now it's just a matter of authorizations. And once everything is successful, you will be able to see something like this. where you can press visit, and this is publicly accessible. And now you have both your GitHub folder and your Vercel website online. And now you can see the animations and everything. So now you know how to build beautiful website, but if you want to learn also how to build agentic workflow that you can implement and sell to businesses, I would suggest you to check this video right here.